Let me get this set. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Nice, well done.
Oh, look at
that! I'm just gonna hang out here until we fix the set. So, guys, what did you think of yesterday's Game of Thrones episode?
I'll jump right in. I think they burned through a shit ton of plot real fast with not enough character development. It was just like, bam, next thing, as opposed to like what we're used to, which is like each character actually does get like a 10-minute scene where we get their intentions and their motivations. And so it was a lot of cutting back and forth very quickly for me.
It felt very obvious to me that, and I apologize for my voice, guys. I'm sorry.
It's post-Comic-Con voice. We've all got it.
It's my post-Comic-Con voice. I think it was very obvious at this point that the show is like, and then, you know, the bullet points from George R. R. Martin, and then this happened, and then this happened, and this happened, and then this happened. And it's hard for me, like, I struggle because I both understand why they're moving at this pace, but also the selfish part of me really wants there to be more of the character development and all those other things. But it does make me feel slightly better actually about the books, because that means the books are going to be a much bigger, better story, and you're going to get a lot more of that stuff that we're missing
the
here.
Books that he's still
yet to write. So like we're going to get it fleshed out. I think it's going to be good. And like that makes me feel slightly better that like George will have more of the authority on the story that like he ultimately wants in the end, even though this does make it feel like it's going really fast.
Even though the news broke over the weekend that he's writing other books instead of the final book, like a real dick.
Literally just
everyone's got to have a side hustle.
Yeah.
You know, those Game of Thrones books just don't really make him enough money. You know, it's kind of tough.
All right, so now that we've got everything up and running again, guys, remember, beware, winter is coming, spoilers are coming, you have been warned, I guess.
Yeah.
Just know, I'm flying at like full speed today. All right.
We're all unit, super awake and alert after Comic-Con.
So with that, let's get into it.
Heck yeah, we will.
What's wrong?
I think
It's
you need
not
to come
moving.
here.
What's what? You can't see it?
No, it's not that. The prompter's just not working.
Oh, great.
It's not moving.
It's not moving.
All right, let's talk about Danny.
You know what? I'm just gonna run.
just go
You know
through-
what? Fuck it. I'm running this show.
Yeah!
We got Amy Warhol.
Yeah.
We got Kyle Anderson.
Hey!
We've got Alicia Lutz.
Yay!
So here's the deal. We didn't get to you, Kyle, talking about what you wanted, what you thought of the second episode. So
Yeah.
what did you think?
I thought there was definitely some good stuff in it, and the little bit of character stuff that we got I really liked, but yeah, it was like, let's just chuggle, because they really, really want to get to Dany meeting Jon, and they just have to be like, how fast are fucking ravens in this world? Like,
they are super
It's the Ravens. It's the Ravens who built the Greyjoy ships because they're so fast.
Can we talk a little bit about those Greyjoy ships? So everybody watching the show, obviously, like Euron has this huge ass fleet of brand new ships that are monstrous in size.
Yeah.
How did that even, like, how much time?
Because wasn't the whole conceit that Yara and Theon stole all the best ships?
Yes, they stole all of
Yes,
them.
and you literally said we have to build. We're going to build.
Although,
on an island chain where there are no trees.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if there were like two big ships, I could buy it. But there's like 12 big ships.
That's kind of the only glaring moment, actually, in all of the seasons where I've just literally, with the exception of maybe Varys being a merman per Dan's theory, where I've literally just been like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Like, F it. I'll believe in dragons and magic,
Sure.
but I can't believe that Euron, you busted that shit out.
No way.
Also, with the other thing with Slappy is at the end of season 6, Jon Snow is at the North meetup, and then they open up on Jon Snow at the North meetup. So in like other worlds, like in these other plot lines, no time has passed, and now like apparently lots of years have passed. I think it's the same meetup.
It's a big amount. I don't necessarily know if it's the same meetup, but like it's hard to see where the timeline plot is, because like you do see like baby Sam, Gilly's kid, is much older now.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're like, some
He's
time
full
has
on
passed,
toddler size.
but no one's really explaining how much time has passed. Do you know how long it took her to cross the narrow sea? Like, I wish there was a little bit of clarification.
yeah.
I just need a little bit of clarification on like how much time has passed, and like if this much time has passed, like what was Cersei doing?
And I love-
Judging by the
Like,
size of that
questions.
child,
Yeah.
the baby wasn't saying anything, right? Is goobering.
Yeah, it
So
was
judging
goobering.
by the size of that child, at least 18 months.
Right, like a portion
Yeah.
of time
Yeah.
has gone
At
by.
minimum, 18 months has gone by. Potentially in the 20-something months.
Sure.
I mean,
And these are professional shipbuilders, you know. But
Although, have we
And maybe
seen?
they could have. Maybe Euron's crazy enough
Yeah.
that he could have really like been a dick, and whoever they had captured or that they have enslaved, just make them work till they dropped, and busted out.
Maybe.
I mean, okay. So we kind of just talked ourselves back fully around in a circle.
I just feel a little bit lazy,
the
but for
potential
the
there.
sake of like just moving the story forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That said, one of the things I really loved about this episode was sort of like the mirroring of what it did with the characters who are like Stormborn, like people that are kind of victims of this world, like literally, and also, you know, whether or not and how they respond to that. You know, you look at somebody like Theon versus Grey Worm, who are both, you know, they've both are like not necessarily dickless, because Jacob Anderson told me that he's got the twig, not the berries, and
To me, that's
and
even
Theon-
that's like the best combo.
Yeah, and Theon-
You can bang it out.
Plan B needed.
Yeah, you bang it out. Nobody has to worry about birth control or
Yeah.
looking after. Like it's just like you get to just enjoy it without the stress.
But like
Yeah.
you see these people that are like sort of either victims of their own circumstances or victims of the.
I thought you were gonna say victims of their own circumcision.
Oh,
I thought you were gonna say that. I thought you were, and I was like, holy shit, she's going down. And then you did it, and I was extremely disappointed. So then I busted it.
I'm really glad that you brought it up though, because everybody deserves a good joke. But yeah, yes, like, they do. Yeah, but like you see, you know, sort of how people have taken their victimhood in this situation and how they respond. Like I see Grey Worm
Grey Worm
and Theon as mirrors of each other. I see Cersei and Sansa as mirrors of each other.
My mic has been
And-
in my. My mic is.
But Dany
What a
and
day.
Jon Snow are also kind of like, you know, foils where they didn't ask for this stuff and like, you know, all that. So I really loved that aspect, because I ultimately think that Game of Thrones is really basically just a very more fantastically alliterative version of The Incredibles.
I love very more fantastically. All right, so jumping around a little bit so we get to the other topics. What do you guys think about Dany? She's got her council and they're preparing their move to take over Westeros. We see each of them talking with her about what they think her tactics should be and all the factions' kind of opinions on what is important to them.
I
I
was a little worried when I heard the plan. We're just going to surround the Iron Keep, and then this person's going to go take Casterly Rock. It seemed a little straightforward. So when Olenna joined in and was like, "Hey, but also you have dragons, so like, why not just fuck shit up?" Like that actually made it, because it did seem a little straightforward. Like 1, 2, 3, this will happen.
See,
Dany is like known for doing things the totally like back-asswards way.
Yeah, Dany.
Well-intentioned, but sometimes doesn't always think things through.
Dany's basic, except that she's got like really awesome accessories, which are her dragons.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, I actually kind of dig the Casterly Rock approach,
I do
where
too.
they go for King's Landing, keep them distracted there, and then basically tear the Lannisters out from the roots over at their hometown.
The only thing
I
they
think
have is
that
money.
like and if, in my opinion, if Olenna was smart and was not allowing her emotions to get in the way for this particular thing, she would be able to see that she will be served her revenge, you know, better,
Yeah.
because she will see the destruction of like I mean, granted, there's only 2 of them left really, but
Right.
she'll like
But
it'll
it's
be
the total war
there's
approach.
the total war
My
approach.
big argument, though, is that Dany's now fighting just like the Starks are fighting. Like her strategies are equivalent to what a Stark would come up with, what the Lannister would come up with. It's all surrounding like we will just kill everyone to get to the Iron Throne. And I think it should be. I think I
a
wanted
couple
something
of
different.
I
different.
completely disagree.
Yeah, I think that this episode kind of proved that, look, everybody on her council is a duplicitous person.
Burped really bad. In my mind.
Everybody has schemed against somebody else at some point currently. And
Oh, because of the whole conversation she has with Varys?
yeah, so
Yeah,
like
I feel like
everybody
made a
she
big
has
point
surrounded.
of that,
Right.
yeah.
So I feel like, and the fact that at the end of the episode, what seemed like, oh, this is going to be great, the Yara and the Sands are going to go off and do their thing. They got foiled. So like I think Dany's going to have to do the dragon thing as opposed to what Tyrion thought up, because that is, like you were saying, it is a little bit too like, this
Color
is what
by
you might
numbers,
expect.
Well, yes. I mean, I agree that that's what I think is going to happen, especially now, and this kind of brings us into the Sand Snake situation. Euron caught up with everybody and pretty much destroyed everything.
Sure.
I think that was a happy accident, though. I don't necessarily think his point was to go kill the sand snakes and all that.
Because I wanted to make the point in regards to Casterly Rock. Now that they're all wiped out and Euron managed to take over that section, I think this is when Dany does pay attention to Elena's advice, or Lena's advice, or whatever, and now is like, see, we tried it your way, Tyrion, because you know that what Olenna said is like eating away in her brain, because she does, she wants to do that all the time. She's going to come back, she's going to be like, look, that whole faction's gone. We tried it your way. It's not going to work. I should have listened to Olenna. Olenna's words are eating away at her anyway. This is going to be her excuse. It could drive a wedge between her and Tyrion now, too, where she starts distrusting him and potentially sets her up for more failures, because up to this point, she was doing jack shit, really, without her dragons until Tyrion came on board and was actually acting like a well-thoughtful, smart individual to her constant, like, I've got to react to everything. Smash, 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 smash. I hate her. I hate her.
Wow.
She is just
I
such
definitely
a
don't hate
pompous,
her.
she's just such a pompous character for how little she can actually do herself.
Here's the thing. Daenerys Targaryen is the embodiment of white privilege. She literally showed, she was born into this dynastic family. She was sent away. She was given dragons, which are literally the embodiment of and then she flies off on her dragons to save the world that she never lived in, and she didn't earn any of it. That is 100% a part of, I think, the point of her storyline. And I think what we saw last night is a lot of that moment where she does have the capacity for the intelligence, I think, to make good choices. And I think we saw that with how she tested Varys. But I think, again, because she's young and because she's got a lot of people telling her, coming from their own very personal experiences in this war, in this situation, she's getting a lot of really mixed signals. And I think that the Olenna stuff, 100%, we saw her dragon dreams in season 2. The Targaryens have very prophetic dragon dreams. It's what got them out of Valyria so that they didn't die in the Doom. She saw the Red Keep in ashes, and she kept saying over and over again she doesn't want to be the Queen of Ashes. She has the best intentions, she just doesn't necessarily have the whole picture. And I think that's why they keep saying she doesn't want to be the Queen of Ashes. She genuinely really doesn't want to murder everyone, but I think listening to Olenna and that stuff will, if she gets too emotional in those moments, she will make the mistakes that are gonna fuck her over and are gonna make her this big villain, which I ultimately think she is. Dany is going to become a huge villain. Somebody who has the best of intentions, but really has no full understanding of what it takes to do these things, because she literally wrote in on her, I said this on the panel, I was at Comic-Con last night, literally just wrote in on her white privilege and is gonna just burn everything to the ground. But, so it's interesting to me. I like the dynamic, though.
Do you guys trust, now that we've seen the council and Varys kind of standing up for himself to her, do you trust that Varys' intentions are true, what he says to her, where he's for the people and he's willing to follow her for the people, yada, yada,
I
yada?
think exactly
Or do
what...
you think he's being typical Varys?
I
and
think
being
right now
suspicious?
he will follow her on the path that they're on, but just like Alicia was saying, I think Dany's going to start doing bad things for the right reasons, and so Varys is going to be the one to... He might, say it directly to her face like she asked, but it's
she's gonna burn him, isn't she? She's gonna burn him.
I also, there's a little part of me that thinks that Varys is somehow working with Littlefinger. There's a little thing in the background.
Really, I always seen them as
They're
competition for each
always
other.
Yeah.
Competition with each other.
I
It's
can't see-
two chicks in Hollywood,
Totally.
They're friends, but then
Totally.
they're still going after the same parts and hate each other
so
secretly.
do I trust him? I think he made a great speech, and in the moment, he meant it, and he'll do what he has to do. I'm glad he's on the team, and I can't wait to see what fucked up shit he gets
I
into.
think that's a good point that you said that. In the moment he meant it. I think he is being really, really truthful with her and kind of exposing the soft core, but knowing Varys and just knowing manipulation in general.
yeah.
That's the best way to manipulate somebody.
Yeah.
And he's been alive long enough within all of these crazy people to realize you know what? fine.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's this little tidbit. I made you feel special, like I was confessing to you,
Yeah.
and now I'm gonna fuck you up
Yeah.
when you're not paying attention. Because
There-
now you really trust me, because you think I was your friend.
And
but-
in the last season, we didn't see any spiders die. Any of those little kids, they're still alive. They
Oh,
did
yeah.
all the killing. So those guys, even though he might have put the spiders to sleep, I bet they're awake by now, doing their thing.
Spiders. Gross. All right, so we've also got Samuel wins the award again for most disgusting scene. That's twice in a row.
Yeah,
Poor
I had
And both
thought-
times with music
I'm
video
like,
editing
I'm like
too,
the
which
next,
was really
the
weird.
next food visual metaphor is going to be like a vagina
Oh.
giving birth to a teratoma, and we're going to be like, and now that's our lasagna.
Really? Normally, I am the most revolting one in the room, and you have by far surpassed me with that one statement.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what a teratoma is, so I'm
A
at a loss.
teratoma is a not quite formed baby. It's a mass of flesh, teeth, and hair.
Yeah.
That just never formed into anything. And I
Oh
invite
my
you to go look it up
God.
online.
Do not.
Pass.
Do pass. Do not listen to Amy Marvel.
thank you.
Do not look that up.
I think it translates in Latin to flesh monster.
Jesus. Christ, you guys.
Well, you learn something new every day, I guess.
I'm gonna throw up. All right. Anyway.
Gosh, we're showing
So
it.
Samuel again wins
They
the award
got to
for the
be
most
wrong.
disgusting scene.
Yeah.
He and Jorah Mormont shared some of the most memorable moments of the episode. Do you think that his cure that he's going for is going to actually work? And where does Jorah Mormont go from here? I hope it works, because
I mean,
I
I
actually
hope-
really like Jorah.
Yeah, I like Jorah a lot. He's one of the better characters.
I want to talk about this so much, but we go into it a pretty deep dive of what some of the suspicions are for how grayscale will work towards the end. I'm torn from all the ones that we give on Nerdist News today. So I do think it has a big part to play in the end. I just don't know how it's going to get there, because I can't understand why it's making such a point of grayscale and Jorah's cure. You know, granted, yeah, Danny said go cure yourself, but I mean, I don't know. Is it going to become an inoculation? Is it going to end up becoming like some sort of chemical warfare? Or is it something simple like, hey, Danny wanted you cured, you got cured, this is going to prove to all the maesters that Samuel actually should be like moved on up, and then he can help Jon Snow faster, and Jorah's going to, you know, and maybe they can manipulate the stone men somehow to join Danny's army, since now she's lost,
100%.
you know,
Yeah.
everybody else in the on sea.
I totally agree with you, Choba. I think that like it's definitely there's gonna be an inoculation effect, whatever. But I think that ultimately there's something with the stone men and the White Walkers as like parallels to each other with like Jon and Danny and all that stuff. And I think that ultimately, even though like everyone says like, oh, the war is like who's gonna end up on the Iron Throne. The war, I don't think ultimately is for that. I think Melisandre really pointed to that in this whole thing when she came to Dragonstone, that like there is the war of magic, the war of these things that cannot be explained and cannot necessarily be controlled, this unknown force, and people like the Lannisters who do not have the capacity for that magic and for that power, trying to stop and quell and quash the people that have this actual magical ability that has been gifted to them or has happened by circumstance, what have you, experience. And I think that that grayscale thing and all of that, that fight is ultimately going to be the bigger threat to the realm. And I think that, the stone men and like just being a zombie in that way, whether it's through ice or fire, is definitely part of the more like poetic story that they're trying to tell here.
Since you brought her up, let's move along to Melisandre.
Wait, there was that bit that we were gonna do. That
Oh,
video.
not
not
yet.
yet.
I was trying to fake it because I really hate chicken pot pie. But if
But
Amy, if you want to do
this one's
this,
frozen.
We were waiting till
kinda
hot
do.
pie, I think, for that.
Oh, I
didn't
thought
get
we
to
were
that.
no,
doing
by
that.
all means now, Amy.
On the
Here,
pus-
no, we're doing it on the
pus
pus pie.
train.
Oh, what about that chicken pot pie?
just
that
smash
pus
it.
pie.
All right, pus
Oh,
is
wait,
coming out.
ew.
Look out for a
look at it. It really is kind of
teratoma.
like,
Teratoma coming through. Oh
It's
God.
too- It's too frozen.
delicious
It is
frozen
too frozen,
pot
but
pie.
yuck! Ew, gross. Oh, it's so frozen. Yeah, gross, y'all.
Now it's
yellow
smell
food.
It, so
Also,
gross.
now we can smell it. See, this is why I wanted to pass.
Yeah, I was
and
with
you're
you.
wasting food.
You guys can smell it. I can't
Cool.
smell
I'm
it.
glad.
You guys are gonna have to heat this up and serve it to somebody.
Thanks, B-Comp.
Don't worry, John.
That was
Shall eat it.
really fun, though.
All right, so let's put Melisandre on hold and let's move on to the Starks because
Cool.
that's actually kind of more important.
Yes.
All right, so
Oh.
Arya actually finds out from her old friend, speaking of pies, Hot Pie, that her family has retaken Winterfell. Are we glad to see her love of family superseding her love of vengeance?
I think the scene is
or is
really.
it kind of just one and the same?
The scene is great because you can see from the beginning she's so stone-faced. Like she's seeing a friend of hers who she hasn't seen in years, and he's really excited to see her, and she doesn't care. And she's just completely dead inside because all she has is vengeance in her heart. And then as soon as
She's
she hears,
becoming the Hound.
yeah, I mean, and then as soon as she hears
Yeah.
that her family won, you could see the little spark of humanity returning to her, and to the point where she completely changes her mind and goes into the.
See, I don't feel like
goes north
she's.
again.
I don't feel like she's
still-
not happy to see Hot Pie. I just feel like she's just so used to people she loves dying.
Yeah,
that
yeah, she doesn't wanna get-
They're all just,
Yeah.
temporary cares. Like she wishes him the best and, cares for him, but life is what life is and I'm not gonna really invest too much into it.
Right.
Yeah, and I
But
mean,
yeah.
Arya is, and you said like the Hound, and it's really true. And in the books, she is put through so much more shit than you see on the show. Like Arya really has a even more rough go of it than she has in the show, which is really saying something because like she is such a victim of the circumstances and the world around her, and she's done her best, I think, with learning the stuff from the Faceless Men. But I loved seeing that moment where, and this sort of skips it just slightly, where she sees Nymeria and she's like, that's not you, which I think she was saying more to herself than she was necessarily saying to
Yeah.
Nymeria about like, you don't have to be somebody who is totally vengeful all the time. She doesn't have to be like the full Lady Stoneheart sort of thing that they were
Right.
kind of allegorically going with her. Like you can move past that and you can find love and you can be about family. She's so hardened and so refusing to be vulnerable, and I think that was
Well,
a really
a couple
nice
of things.
moment.
I think the
She's
writers
just a
actually
kid.
did say that "That's Not You" refers to. It's a callback to season 1
Right.
when her dad Ned was saying, "You're going to be a lady. You're going to be married one day," and she goes, "That's not me." And so it was a callback to that. Like you don't have to come back to Winterfell. That's not you. Like it's you, but
Right.
yeah, be yourself.
So
And
was her
Nymeria not
statement of
recognizing
that's
her
not-
is kind of like a.
Well, she
No,
did at the
Nymeria
end.
She did a little
definitely
bit, but it's-
recognized
Yeah.
her.
It's
But
not a lot,
I
though.
She just
felt
didn't
like
wanna be
Nymeria
domesticated.
recognized her and was like, F you,
Yeah.
bitch, you told me to leave
Yeah.
when I wanted to be by you, and now you want me to come with you. This is how it feels, and turn. So now there's like, but now kind of the debt has been paid a little
And
bit.
Nymeria just walks off like, "You don't get it." Yeah, she's just walking like instead of being like a sweet moment,
I mean,
Nymearia's
it's
like,
kind of-
"You'll
it's
never
kind of-
understand human."
That's what I thought it was. I thought it was like, it's a little basic as far as like really on the nose, but I did feel like, it was a respectful turn away where you did this to me, now this is how it feels for you, but it
Yeah.
could have been worse because I could have eaten your face off. Like one
Yeah.
of those, like, we're all a pack of wolves and I am choosing not to take my revenge on you.
Also, another female leader, by the way. Just putting that out there.
Listen, the ladies are killing it. The show should be called All Queens Considered, as far as I'm concerned at this point. But I think that for me, the Nymeria stuff was more sort of like, because in the books, like, there's a much closer connection to Arya. She has like her wolf dreams and stuff, and she's very connected to Nymeria and the pack that she's created and the sort of like killer, like crossing the countryside thing. I worry that this means that because Nymeria turned away, ultimately Arya's gonna die. Like, she's changed so much by becoming
don't
a
kill
victim.
Arya.
And I know.
Oh my
Listen,
God.
in my dream of dreams, she ends up being queen in the north, and she ends up ruling West.
Oh, you would
Winterfell.
put the throne in
No.
Arya's?
Winterfell's like throne.
I
not
think that's still
necessarily.
very dangerous to put
I-
her in a leadership position.
Listen, I agree, but she could grow. She
She's
could
a
grow and learn.
sociopath.
She could grow and learn. She could become friends with little Lady Mormont, and like they could become friends and real things. But I'm just saying.
Okay.
So I worry. That moment made me worry about Arya's
Yeah.
future.
So, Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Also, Nymeria, isn't that the name of a sand snake too? Nymeria is the name of the wolf
I
and the
don't
name of it.
Nymeria is a name that is fabled
heard
in
yes.
Game of Thrones
Yes.
lore. Yeah, there was Nymeria. I think it was Nymeria. rather than
Anyway, one of them
Nymeria,
died, so there's
but-
only one now.
Yeah. Besides, also, it's only episode 2. Nymeria could very well come back.
Yeah.
Everybody.
That's
So will Arya run into Jon Snow before he gets to Dragonstone, do you think?
No.
I
No.
literally think they are going to be 2 ships passing in
Yeah.
the night. Like, legit, just 2, like, passing.
And that's a recurring thing for Arya, even in the
Yes.
books. Like
Yeah.
she just can't. Like
Misses
she,
everybody.
She
She
by
literally
like
just misses
she was late to the red wedding, like just by a bit.
Just by seconds.
Yeah.
All right, so also have you heard, have the Starks heard of offline conversations yet? Because right after Jon kind of, poo-poos Sansa for speaking up, they're at it again when Jon decides to drop the big bomb that I'm leaving you in charge. Granted, I'm sure he tried to do it for pomp and circumstances reasons, because he wanted to kind of make that point really come across in the meeting room. But
Yeah.
like, what the heck, man? You can't just yell at your sister for
then the
doing
minute-
that and then
anytime-
do it right away.
Anytime Lady Mormont says anything, that little 10-year-old cutie, I'm like, yeah, go her, whatever she said, of course, I'm on that team.
Isn't this the first time that she's directly disagreed with what he's had to say?
Yeah.
No,
So-
she's the only one that agreed with Jon Snow about going. Everyone else is like, don't go.
No, I thought she said we need you. We need you
Yeah,
in the
we do.
north.
Oh
in
yeah,
the
she did
north.
say that, but like ultimately she came on the side of him at the end, right? Maybe
Oh, I
was
wasn't. I don't think so. I think she just kind
I
of
think
made
we
her
ended on
statement
a
and then that was it. And
Sansa beautiful reaction
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah, pretty Sansa shot,
Yeah.
both in the meeting room and then out longingly staring off into the distance with Littlefinger being his usual creeper self down in the corner.
Brienne, step up, man.
I am curious to know what deal he made with her. He made a deal with Sansa. He made a deal with her. And she
with
I
the
think
army.
Sansa is in cahoots with Littlefinger, not necessarily because
see
she
that.
wants to be, but because she has to be.
Yeah.
Because of what
The Battle of the Bastards.
Yes, exactly.
I don't necessarily think they're in cahoots. I think Littlefinger thinks he has more control over Sansa than he actually does, and I think that Sansa is I think that Littlefinger looks at Sansa the way he looked at Cersei and thinks that she's easily manipulable and easily corruptible. But I think the Starks, because of how much shit they've been through and how much they've experienced, Sansa, I think, is really going to kind of go in a different direction. I think she's keeping him close to the vest because she knows you keep your friends close and your enemies closer. But ultimately, I think that there's going to be a big struggle there, but I think Arya is ultimately going to come back and kill Littlefinger, and there's going to be this sisterly reunion where they actually come together and not hate each other all the time because that was so part of their thing.
You just reminded me of something. Also, can we agree with Littlefinger? Ultimate stupid move is not only to tell Jon
Oh
Snow,
my God,
hey man, not only did I dig your mom, but I also dig your sister. You idiot! Who? So that
He's impossibly
in an
arrogant.
Irish
That's the-
accent.
but
Guess
that's the
what?
good
Have
point,
a boner
right?
for.
So that's the flip side. He's now gotten overly confident.
Absolutely.
And he's so arrogant that I do feel that this could go, and I think that's because he knows of the deal that he has with Sansa. I don't necessarily know if it's going to play out for him in the end, but I think he's gaining an arrogance because he's just he's
Well,
the
he
cat
thinks-
that catch
Yeah, whether he made
Ate
a deal
caught.
with her or not,
shoved the canary in his face.
I feel like
whatever.
he thinks he can manipulate Sansa. But in the last episode, Sansa says to Jon, "I know exactly what Littlefinger wants."
Yeah,
and
also,
so she's
I don't
smart
understand.
enough to be able to.
Why not just? Oh, because the army's
learned
still
from the
there. I was
best.
gonna say,
She
why
can
not
play
just
the game.
kill him? But I forgot his army's still there.
His army, yeah. He's still the ruler of the
I'm
Vale.
like, why can't anybody just shiv him really fast?
Arya will. Arya's gonna do
Yeah,
it. I'm
she's gonna
telling you.
needle him in
She's
the
gonna
neck.
needle him.
She's gonna. Yep. She's got his Valyrian little dagger. Or,
All right,
we
so
saw in those photos. So.
what will happen when Jon and Sir Davos see Melisandre again to their trip to Dragonstone? Melisandre's gonna get her ass beat. That's what I
Yeah.
think's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then I don't get to wear my cape anymore.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when done. It'll be interesting when Jon and Dany meet because they are both of them are so forthright and very naive at the same time, and everybody else around them, even Sir Davos is kind of like, dude, you gotta stop, it's gonna be interesting because they're ultimately gonna have to team up, Jon and Dany, but everyone around them is way smarter at this than they are.
Yeah.
And
They're so emotionally driven, both of them.
And they're both trying to do good, but they're not thinking properly.
See, I feel like
John's a
making
little
all the
bit
right
better.
choices,
Well, I think
yeah.
John's a little bit better, but but I think he's making the right choices kind of a little bit out of luck.
He's not a good
because
leader, though.
he's not a
or
good-
he's a good
yes.
he's a good captain. He's not
He's
a good king.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
good
yeah,
way to
that
put
is.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a good way to put it. But I think that like that also kind of plays into the idea of like Dany and Jon need to be collaborators. And like I think that they like I like that I think there was a very specific reason why they did all that stuff in front of everyone. Like I think Jon wants to show the North that like you can trust Sansa, and that he wanted to give Sansa that confidence and all of this stuff. I think that Jon and Dany more than anything really need to listen to themselves, and I'm afraid that they're going to just both get kind of what is the word I'm looking for, like subverted or messed up or like because they're listening too much to other people.
Yeah, I do think Melisandre's had a good run, but that's a character that I could
They've made her kind of boring now, and
oh, maybe you're the prophecy, but actually I don't actually believe in
she-
prophecies anymore because they've been confusing this whole time.
she just doesn't do, here's the thing with Melisandre, she just doesn't do her job well. All right, so we
she's
also
bad.
have that final scene with Greyjoys and the Sands.
Can I just say something real fast?
Yes.
Fuck Euron Greyjoy. He's the worst character in the history of characters.
He's kind of a
I hate him so much.
Everybody else has been brought on as this kind of gray area. You kind of get their motivations. They
He's
are
a
getting
plot
revenge.
point, that's all
and
he is.
he's just
an easy
evil,
threat.
evil, and then he
Yeah.
plays it so manically.
Yeah.
I mean, I do love the acting of the character. If it weren't such, like the story
It's
point
so
of like,
big
do you
and
need
like-
someone to hate him? Look at him.
Yeah, he's an easy evil dude.
Hi, I'm Jeff Bad Guy.
Also with
Yes.
Ramsay and Joffrey.
But I gotta say,
Yeah, but you understood. You like they had more character to them. This
He literally
were
showed
around
up
for a
out of
while.
nowhere at the end
I
of
gotta
last
say,
season,
though, there
and
is
now
a
he's like a main
little
bad guy.
part of me that adores him for that speech he gave.
Oh, he's got
To
two good
Cersei?
hands.
Cersei.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm coming back with a
okay,
gift, Mama.
I'm in it to win it with this one, but yeah, he also is a very obvious like.
Who's
weak
gonna kill him?
character.
Who do you think's gonna kill him? Because somebody's gonna. This fucker's not lasting to the end. I hate that guy.
It's gonna be Cersei.
Definitely probably be Cersei.
She doesn't
Yeah.
keep a husband
That would be
long,
kind of
or a
funny,
king.
Yeah, he's gonna piss her off, and she's gonna, and I'm gonna support that. All right, even though I loved his speech. All right, so I guess we know now what Euron's gift to Cersei is going to be.
Alaria.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys sad to see the Sands go?
No.
Sand snakes
I mean, we
were
kinda
just
touched upon it a little bit earlier.
savagely depicted on the show.
They were
and
not
so
good
underwritten.
characters.
They didn't like it's that whole story.
They're just always banging.
Yeah, so much so that she was about to make out with Yara, and it's
Yeah.
like that was even a tease from last tease in the. In the
I mean,
teaser
literally,
trailer from
their
last-
whole point during the show is just to bang.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just like I was hoping for justice for the sand snakes, but we ain't getting
Yeah.
any on
No.
this show, man.
Yeah, but I think Qyburn's gonna do a number on Alaria. That's what I think. It's like Qyburn's gonna get her into the basement. We're gonna see some like Septa Unella shit.
to try and like to try and also like
Want shame shit.
yeah, and like maybe
Oh,
even what
really?
if Qyburn like brings her back from the dead so that like the fucking
Like the mountain, yeah.
So like but also so Dorne thinks that she's alive so that they come over to her side, like she's gonna grasp her
I don't
power
know.
in
I
any
feel
way.
if she was going to have that much of a role to play, they would have already led up to that with a little better of a character writing.
Yeah.
Maybe they
Alright.
don't do very well with women on shows.
Can Yara Greyjoy get out of this alive, do you think? Or is she's a threat to Euron's claim on the Salt
I think
Throne,
if
so-
anything, it's going. She's going to get saved by Theon once he finally
Absolutely.
like, comes back around.
Absolutely.
That's going to be
I
his like
think that's
redemptive moment.
exactly
'cause
He was literally left waiting in the middle of
I
the
do
water.
not
Was
blame
left
him
out to
for
sea.
any of that. Like
No,
I'm glad that
I-
was in there, but I do not blame him. I love Theon. I feel like he
Theon
was
needs
dealt a
some-
shit hand.
Yeah, Theon needs to have some slack.
And if they were gonna
feel
kill her
bad.
off, they
And
would've
at this
just killed
point,
her
I'm
off,
just
'cause-
like, dude, can we just leave Theon alone for a little
Yeah.
bit and let
Yeah.
the man like have a moment because he is over. He's very obviously
And
overwhelmed.
also-
that's the face that I have at the end of San Diego Comic-Con. It's like, a little bit of eye twitch,
quick,
and then I
quick,
jump off the swim home.
And if he had gone right there, if he hadn't have gotten scared and jumped in the water, either he would have died, Yara would have died, or they both would have died. And so I
Yeah.
feel like this is like, even though he was scared and like ran away essentially,
It will
this is going to be
be-
his way to get back.
Yeah, and
He's
it
gonna
will.
be able
And
to do
here,
it,
that's
so.
it.
After
Leave to
the
fight
shit-
another day, right?
Yeah,
Right.
but the shit they threw Euron into, he should have died. Like they either should have not had him through that much trial, but he survived like 3 sand snakes and Yara
Yeah, it was
and a
little too
bunch of
much.
other.
He's not. I don't get that this whole madness thing that he's running with is necessary. Like, why is he invincible? It's like,
He
but is he on
sucks.
Yeah. I mean, is it more like the bath salts thrown?
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying? Like, it just,
He's got the whites
You
in his
know?
eyes though
Like-
are really cool, and as an actor, it's really cool to be able to like show
Do
the whites of
crazy
your
eyes?
eyes like the whole time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
it's like what's her face on Real Housewives of New York. I know this
Sure.
reference, guys.
don't know
I
that
know
reference.
this reference, and maybe 2 people in our chat do, but they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think Theon's is a story of what happens when you like don't stand for anything and you're a bit of a shitbird, but then you have these terrible things happen to you, and you have to he has to figure out for himself what he has to do. He has
Yeah,
to,
I'm glad he's
grow
not
up.
dead.
It's
I
I'm
think
gonna- I'm
there's
not
a.
gonna
I
say
think
too
I
much
think
more.
George R. Martin came up with a thing that like if we cut off your dick, you'll live.
That's
we'll
the
let you
exchange.
survive.
You get to keep cashing those paychecks. All right, we got a couple little more tidbits here. What do you think of Qyburn and Cersei's plans to stop the dragons? Do you think that he has more up his sleeve, or are they just
He
betting on
better,
her? Yeah,
because that dragon was dead and close.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And now,
I was
Oh,
very
he's
near
like-
to
he
that
makes a big
crossbow.
deal out of it. He's like,
Dead and close.
A crossbow.
We've got something up our sleeve. We will shoot it in the head.
Yeah.
Who cares?
That's like Bard in Lake Town from
yeah,
Lord of
from
the
Lord of
Earth.
the-
The
or,
Hobbit.
Hobbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agreed. I was like, okay, cool scene. But
Like-
I mean, are you gonna have like good aimers? Like who's practicing?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
people practicing right now?
No one's ever had to
Cersei
shoot a
had
dragon out of the
Yeah,
sky
yeah.
before.
I feel
Not
like
in
they're
thousands
not
of
going to be
years.
Yeah.
prepared.
I think that this is leading to ultimately because we have 3 dragons, we have 3 heads of the dragon. I'm ride or die for there's going to be an ice dragon. We're going to get like a big ice dragon. I think we're going to get like an undead dragon, and I think Qyburn is going to do that. I think that we're going to have that like play because Cersei is sort of like dead inside as a person, and so like that's sort of like the allegory, that very Trumpian speech that she gave there. Like I think it all connects to this like you have no soul or love or empathy situation. You just live and survive on fear, and so death is like the ultimate fear. So like if you have this undead dragon that's a part of this battle,
That
and
would be
there's 3
cool.
dragons.
I'm in for a lich
and maybe
dragon.
Danny will have a
I was
stone
just
dragon.
about to say, I'm trying to think of the White Walker leader, and I keep trying to say
Night
Lich
King.
King,
Oh,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's not the Lich King. It's not
basically the
the
Lich King.
I meant, you don't think that he just has a dragon? I mean, wouldn't they have been able at some point to grab
Have you
themselves
guys
a
talked
dragon?
about how it's like winter's coming, has come, and winter fell, and that's where the final showdown's going to be?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's where winter falls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Alicia has had this in her pocket forever. I was just wondering because it came to me like derpy, like probably in between
like how
season
it came
6
to me
and
right
7.
now, where I'm just like,
A little late. Yeah.
Guys, Melisandre says like prophecy can be very useful, and if you look at the Citadel, they're writing down stories.
But I
and, like,
do
the way they
think
tell stories.
since
like, all of this
then
is
I've started to think that
prepare
that
people.
place has magic, and it's the old gods'
Winterfell?
magic.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, the 7.
you
Yeah.
broke me. Okay, cool.
Jessica is broken.
And it was with, and by the way, it was with a Winterfell theory and not with a teratoma coming out of a vagina.
Yes.
That didn't break her.
But way to bring it back around. All right, so let's take a quick look at the teaser for next week's episode.
I was born to rule the 7 kingdoms, and I will.
The war's already begun. I've drawn first blood.
Cersei will be ready. They know we're coming.
All right, right, so what do you guys think?
Jon and Dany meetup is all I care
Yeah,
about.
you're crying about it.
Dany looks really cool sitting on the throne, I gotta admit.
Yeah.
She just keeps going from throne to throne. Have you noticed that? She's like, well, I'm in Marine
She's
now.
like playing
so I'm
a
gonna go to this one.
worldwide hot potato.
You know what that's missing is Bran. I'm ready for Bran. I'm ready for Bran. I'm ready for
Bran.
Yeah, we better. He's now the
You know what?
trait.
Bran's good for you. Anybody?
Hey.
Poop.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
I was trying to.
We talking about poop?
I was talking about
related.
prophecies.
Prophecies can be very useful for.
But it looks like they're
fans.
already at the Iron Keep. Or sorry, not the Iron Keep. The Red. The Red. Yeah. No. The army. They're battling
No, that was Casterly Rock.
at Casterly Rock.
yeah,
with
'cause
Euron
Grey Worm's-
there. Or Euron what?
There's 2 different battles.
Should
I
we
think,
play it
happening at the
again?
same
Because I'm
time.
not really sure either.
All right, let's go again.
All right, let's try one more time.
Keep the mics up this time. Okay, so that's
Dragonstone.
right.
All right.
That's the
That's
Red
like
Keep.
Red Keep. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, Red Keep.
Because
He's bringing back this. Yeah.
That's
his forge.
Dragonstone.
Dragonstone.
That we're not on probably Dragonstone. That see that was Casterly Rock. I'm pretty sure.
You think that? Yeah.
Where Jamie was?
No, where?
Yeah, because I think that Cersei and Jaime are absolutely knowing that Tyrion's going to have them go after Casterly Rock, and so I think Jaime's going to go there to try and thwart their like red herring attack.
Right.
Like I think that Cersei's going to stay in Red Keep.
That's not a bad.
Because Tyrion, and I think Tyrion knows that they're going to
Tyrion
think that
and
way.
Jaime kind of oddly respect each other
Yes,
too.
they do. Yeah. So
that's
that's
a
what
good
I think.
pull. I like that, Alicia. All right, and with that said, that's it for today's Talks Back. Be sure to watch today's Nerdist News because we're peeling back the layers on how grayscale will affect the end game in Game of Thrones. We will see you all tomorrow for an all-new Talks Back at 1 p.m. PST live on YouTube and Alpha. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day. Bye.
Toodaloo.